Yummy. Yummy.
Common Good TV show. The Common Good TV show. Brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. Highlighting the good in the community. Hosted by Pastor Common Good Radio Show. The Common Good Radio Show. Brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. Highlighting the good in the community. Hosted by Pastor John McClain, Tucson's favorite family show.
It gets me every time. This is the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I am Pastor John McClain, and today, luckily or unluckily, depends how you view it, I don't have a co-host. You have just me, but I'll bring twice the energy, twice the love. I don't have that Harvard graduate here, but I'll talk really smart, use some really big words. And I'll bring, like always, some really amazing guests. But this would not be the Common Good Radio Show as usual if I did not give grace to a very loving God that makes this all possible. It makes it so I get to have one of the coolest jobs that I get to do every week in the Common Good Radio Show. And I usually think I'm with the Lord's Prayer that goes a little something like this. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So, all that being said, I think I have probably the exact perfect first guest on the show this week. We've had them on the show a few times, and people that were partners of them on the show, but that group I'm speaking of is 4Tucson. I'm blessed to be kind of part of that team as well, and the commander of the 4Tucson team is Miss Lakeisha Dion, with the CEO of 4Tucson. And thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you. You know what, John? I feel like we need some gospel tracks. You know, I remember listening to the Lord's Prayer and how I actually memorized it was with a gospel choir singing it. And unfortunately, I can't sing, but I was forced to be in the choir.
Interesting.
But I walked away knowing the Lord's Prayer.
Okay, so that was the takeaway. All that trouble they put you through just to appropriately learn the Lord's Prayer. I just had to read it every week for 6 years.
I went to a Lutheran school, so it was kind of beat into us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Lakeisha, introduce our colleague, our teammates, the running back of the 4Tucson team.
Yes. So it's amazing because most people kind of mix up what our organization does. They're always looking at us and saying, well, what do you guys do? Who do you serve? And we're like, we serve the city. Well, what do you give the city? Oh, we love on the city. And one of the ways that we get to love on the city is to know deeply about our city, which requires us to research all of the good, bad, and the ugly of our research. And we have been blessed over the last few years to have this young lady, Elizabeth Wilson, who loves research. You'll say a topic and immediately she's fact checking.
Oh yeah.
Which I love.
Or she just knows it.
She's just recalling it from her brain, and I'm like, wow, that is such a blessing. And sometimes I wish I had that type of memory, but then I thank God, like, no, he gave us Elizabeth Wilson, and she's helped us with a lot of our research on housing, on poverty reduction, on education, on economic opportunity and development. And now we're diving into church as normative. Like, what is it going to take to get people to understand that it's okay to go to church and experience it in that way? And she loves it. And when she writes a research paper, she's not struggling to write a 3-page, 5-page, 10-page paper. Like, she gets into it. A couple of almost 100. I'm thinking 89 pages at one at one go. You can knock it out. But Elizabeth is here with us today, and she's going to be talking about an amazing program where we gather movement under some of these issues that we are focused on in our city.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. We call her a young lady, but I'm 41, and I feel like she's more mature, more wise, and has a wider knowledge base than I do. So
and can hold her own in a debate. I love it.
And if you put her ahead of a task and she's the leader on that task, you can follow her lead comfortably. Yeah. So it's definitely been a blessing working with her. And I'll segue that to. You have a big event coming up real soon, and
we do.
I've been lucky to help kind of with the marketing approach on that, and hopefully this is part of getting the word out about that upcoming event. But I'll let you speak to it. I won't ruin it.
Sure. So we have our Movement Day event coming up on February 7th, Friday, February 7th at 9. From 9 to 2, we are at Grace to the Nations, and we are going to be taking a look at Movement Day is really about getting people in the room and talking about where is God moving in our city and how can we help our Christian community jump on board with where God's already moving. And so Movement Day is a worldwide organization that we're privileged to be part of here and have our own iteration here at Movement Day Tucson. And, we this year are kind of going back to some foundational things of our tagline at 4Tucson is biblically transform your city. And so we are bringing in one of our partners, Eric Swanson, and he is just a leader in this space in the country, in the world, really, about what does it mean to practically do biblical city transformation. What does that look like? What do we define by that? How do our colleagues in the Christian community get on board with that, all of that good stuff. And then hearing from some of our local leaders, Lakeisha is going to be one of them, Dave Drum at J17 Ministries, Jennifer Tompkins out of Casas, and then Liz Morales, who's one of our assistant city managers. And they're just going to be talking about how they take their personal calling from the Lord to help minister to our city through their ministries, and also in Liz's case in the government office that she's privileged to be part of. So it's just we're excited to have this event come together and talk about what is biblical city transformation, how are some of our partners doing that already, and how can you as part of the Christian community jump on board with that, and how do you fit into this picture that we're all part of? So
that's awesome.
We're very excited about it.
Such like a powerhouse group. Obviously Lakeisha, she's a powerhouse in her own, but Liz Morales, Dave Drum, I mean, you really, Eric
Swanson.
Yeah, Swanson.
Yes.
Those are all some really big names that are going to be there to kind of to lead this conversation and kind of and lead this movement, all pun intended, of Movement Day. Talk about how Movement Day, in conjunction with a series of events that 4Tucson is part of, is in line with that mission that is 4Tucson, and in kind of what is the goal of 4Tucson moving forward into the 2025.
Yeah, so we've been in this research space, relationship building space for a while, and now we're really activating this collaboration space. And how can we bring together real collaborations around issues that we're all passionate about? So we had a great gathering in October of people passionate about housing and helping our unhoused neighbors, and how do we possibly do something as a Christian community, whether that be a tiny home village or talking about building attainable housing on church property. How can we come together to really make that happen? And now that conversation is ongoing. Now that we have the research and we've established the relationships, now we're moving into let's get some action. So we're going to be talking about why we love our city. It's Movement Day for God So Loved Tucson, because when we have value in our city, then we can make change. If we value the good, then we put stock behind that, and we can really bring our best efforts forth.
Nice.
So,
and we got about 30 seconds till we jump out of here, but for people who want to help or support or be part of Movement Day, how can they do that?
Yeah, you can go ahead and go on to 4Tucson.com and our events calendar. There's a upcoming event. You'll scroll through to February. There's a block that will tell you about Movement Day, how to register. Any of our social medias right now, if you scroll anywhere on our feeds, you can find something about it.
Nice.
And get registered, learn more information, find it on our blog. We have some deeper dives into who's going to be there and what we're going to talk about.
Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. And Lakeisha, one last time, for people who want to be involved with 4Tucson or figure out, what we're about, how can they do that?
Yeah, if you want to be part of uniting with others and actually mobilizing and doing things within our city that's going to help transform it for the good, go to 4Tucson.com. You can also give us a call at 520-745-7404.
Awesome.
I think that's right.
4404 is the last one.
4404. Thank you.
Yeah, we did that on purpose so you guys would remember it. Well, thank you so much, Lakeisha Dion and Elizabeth Wilson with 4Tucson for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain. We want to thank our sponsors, Proper Villains, 4Tucson, We Care Tucson, 100 Plus Guys, Tucson Tamale, Desert Sunset Realty, White Stallion, Piper Family Painting, Steamy Concepts, Donso Dust Landscape, but I'm not going to be able to say these all. We'll say them after the break. We'll be back.